With 8 new sets on shelves, LEGO City Space is back once again in 2024, although it looks a bit different. Traditionally, space sets released under LEGO's city and town themes have been realistic, as they often leave out the aliens and fancy spaceships LEGO has featured in their most well-known space themes. This time, though, that's not the case, as this LEGO space theme features some sort of aliens, along with some pretty cool vehicles that look nothing like what we have here on Earth. This makes this sub-theme groundbreaking. We're seeing LEGO City experiment with the fantasy side of space, which has been more or less ignored since Galaxy Squad came out in 2013. While we all know and love iconic LEGO space properties, the realistic side of LEGO space is often ignored. And to celebrate this new set lineup, I thought it would be fun to break down the history of LEGO City Space. Before we can take a look at the space sets that have been released under LEGO's town and city themes, I thought it would be appropriate to acknowledge the fact that the first space sets were not released under LEGO's classic space theme. The first set was released in 1964 under the LEGO System by Samsonite collection and was titled Space Rocket. Surprisingly, no other space sets came out in the 1960s. The next time fans saw space was in 1973, with set 358, Rocket Base, and again in 1975, with set 367, Moon Landing. As we all know, 1978 was an important year for LEGO. Between the introduction of the space and town themes, the inception of the castle property, along with the creation of the minifigure, LEGO was entering a new era in the 1980s, and big things were on the horizon. While all three themes flourished, the continued release of space sets year after year prevented town from ever having its own lineup of LEGO space sets. After 12 years, space finally made its debut under town with 1990's Space Shuttle launch, a playset containing 3 figures, a spaceship, and a launch pad. 2 years later, in 1992, fans received Shuttle Launching Crew, a set with a spaceship being transported on a truck, with a small police escort providing assistance. Fast forward to 1995, and LEGO finally produced the first town space subtheme, with Launch Command, led by astronaut Becky Blastinoff. With only 5 sets, it certainly was a small sub-theme. Included was the shuttle launch pad, which was more or less a bigger and better version of the 1990 set. And there were not 1 but 2 spaceships in this line, with the second ship included in the Shuttle Transcon 2 set. Overall, this was a wonderful lineup, but it was only laying the groundwork for what would come a few years later. In 1999, fans were blessed with Spaceport, town's second space subtheme, and what I personally think is LEGO's best city space subtheme to date. Once again, this theme included a launch pad set, that being Mission Control, which featured a ship that fans could take apart to make their own. Additionally, there was the Space Simulation Station, a place for the astronauts to participate in training. Along with the Countdown Corner, there were a variety of small add-on sets also released in this sub-theme. The sets are cool, but they also encourage play, and the inclusion of named characters with Captain Jerry Walker, Navigator Ina Orbit, Flex Combo, Batter by Sure, and Chris Comlink only adds to the legacy of this line. While the sets were a little before my time, I had the DK Reader's LEGO Rocket Rescue book as a child, so that also explains why this subtheme means so much to me. Between Launch Command and Spaceport, it was a good time to be a fan of space, and the future was bright. Unfortunately though, Spaceport was the last time LEGO Town touched space, as the theme was wrapped up in 2002. While Town was finished, a new city theme was on shelves, World City, and even though this theme was focused on all things transportation, space was once again left out. Unfortunately, realistic space sets did not return until 2011, when LEGO City came out with a tiny sub-theme. So why did it take so long for space to return? I think it's important to acknowledge the fact that Launch Command and Spaceport both came out at the tail end of Space's 22-year run. As in the 2000s, LEGO rebranded Space with individual themes. In 2001, fans received Life on Mars. Then space as a whole disappeared until 2007 and 2008, with Mars Mission. This hiatus was probably caused by Star Wars Episodes 2 and 3. Fans received a new line in 2009 and 2010, that being Space Police 3, with Alien Conquest coming out a year later in 2011. Besides, at this time, LEGO was busy creating a new evergreen town theme, that being City, and with space themes satisfying the demand for space sets, LEGO was building the city theme around police and fire, just as they had done for town in the 1980s. The 2011 space theme once again saw a space shuttle and a space center, in addition to the satellite launch pad and a space moon buggy. There really was nothing too special about this line, and I think the same can be said with 2015's theme, which included a starter set and a training jet, along with another main launch pad set titled Spaceport and another shuttle. Compared to these two sub-themes, Launch Command and Spaceport brought so much more to the table. While 2011's sub-theme was released the same year as Alien Conquest, there were no other space sets on shelves in 2015, making LEGO City's second space sub-theme quite the disappointment in my opinion. In 2019, LEGO launched the Mars Exploration sub-theme, a wonderful lineup of space sets. This theme contains some pretty big sets, with the deep space rocket and launch control, and the rocket assembly and transport set. And overall, it really opened the door for what could be done with LEGO City Space. When looking at the previous two LEGO City Space sub-themes, they really were pretty simple and basic. But this one, which saw LEGO City take on the planet Mars, pushed the boundaries for what was possible with LEGO City Space. And I think it certainly influenced what came just 3 years later. In 2022, Space returned again with another city sub-theme, which ditched the classic aesthetic for a more modern look. Fans got a space station, a lunar rover, and even a lunar base, along with a rocket launch center that truly has its own style. What was so special about this sub-theme was that it was released in collaboration with NASA, as the sets are loosely based on NASA's real-life Artemis project. While it was only a sub-theme made up of 4 sets, these were some of the best space sets to come out since before the 2000s. And between the collaboration with NASA and the new style of these builds, I think this sub-theme, as well as LEGO's willingness to experiment with the 2019 Mars Exploration theme, truly opened the doors for what was possible with LEGO City Space. Now, in 2024, we're getting a whole new lineup of space sets, the most we've gotten at once in the history of LEGO City, and with a brand new aesthetic. As we learned today, city and town space has had its ups and downs over the years. But with this new theme creating excitement for city space fans new and old, it's evident that LEGO City Space's best and brightest days are still ahead.